Welcome everyone to the Heaven on Earth Prayer Collective. My name is Kaia, and it is my great honor and privilege to be here with you this evening. I am the author of the Sophia Code, and together, along with my beautiful team angels and our Sophia Circle leaders worldwide, we are leading a movement for the awakening of humanity to recognize the truth of its sovereign divinity. The Sophia Code is not just a book, it's a sacred text that has 8 key code initiations within section 2 that activate the metaphysical divine genome within every cell of your body when you complete these 8 initiations. As we have all discovered who have been walking with the Sophia Code teachings, as well as the Sophia Code as a living transmission for the past 6 years, this is a living transmission that continues to activate us and upgrade us and guide us beyond a normal book. And we have multiple curriculums that have come out of the Sophia Code teachings that are available on my website at kaia.com. The Sophia Code Mystery School now includes 6 curriculums, one of which is a certification program for leading Sophia Circle journeys through the Sophia Code. And we have many of our Sophia Circle leaders here this evening. It's just so remarkable what happens on these Sophia Circle journeys. These are journeys of awakening to your sovereign divinity directly with the book, the teachings of the book. I have so many special announcements today. And before we begin our invocation, because that space of invocation is so powerful, I don't want to interrupt it with any announcements. I just want to share that a few exciting announcements. Number one, we have the Soul Power Journey curriculum is on sale until tomorrow. So this is one of the deepest curriculums for learning about your emotional spectrum, how to transform trauma into soul power, how to listen to the voice of your heart, how to identify the places and spaces that have been minimized or abandoned within you so that you can fully step into the power of your creativity, the power of your communication, and the relief of stepping into your divine purpose. This month of March, we have been focusing on the topics of creativity and communication on the KR daily transmissions that happen Monday through Friday on YouTube Live at Kaia Official. And that topic of creativity and communication, I've just got to say for myself personally, I've had multiple breakthroughs going on this journey with you, including finally fully getting back into the saddle of working on several manuscripts that it's just been such a relief to return to. And I know that it's been our collective breakthroughs in our journeys together that have been a part of my own personal breakthrough. And that is, such the theme of what's happening over these next few months. I don't know if you're aware of it, but I've recently been deep diving into the study of astrology. And this month, April, as well as the after effects of this very powerful Jupiter-Neptune transit or conjunction, these couple of months are particularly activating for several reasons. When Neptune and Jupiter come together, they are amplifying our desire to come into an even clearer resonance with our direct connection to source, number one. To feel our desire for obstacles to be removed from that direct connection and feeling the abundance of that connection. We feel a heightening of that astrological conjunction as well. And how it's connected to when we become closer to our connection with source, when we allow it to guide us in deeper and deeper ways, we start to feel the inner calling of our divine purpose. We start to feel the aspects of spirituality that we are attracted to rise up within us and want to be taught through us, want to be spoken through us, want to be embodied through us, through our higher self embodiment. So if you, I was kind of looking at this and studying the astrology and studying how we're leading up to Austin. This May, how we have sovereign spiritual leadership, our training happening this May in Austin, the first week of Austin, and the timeline of this very special announcement that I have, which is that we're doing a Magdalene Rising ceremony on April 13th. All of this is connected to spiritual leadership. And this Neptune Jupiter conjunction amplifies our desire to allow the teacher, the healer, and the creator creatrix within us, which are all archetypes featured in the Stargate 2 curriculum. It's invoking these archetypes within us in a very powerful way. So if you've been feeling a certain vulnerable edge of growth and evolution and deepening into your divine purpose, of course, it's always your higher self beckoning you forward into your greatest empowerment, but the planets are also playing their role in reflecting back to us what is being invoked within the collective of humanity's consciousness, as well as within each of us individually. So if there was a transit to focus upon activating your spiritual leadership, owning your gifts and talents, stepping into your creativity and communication, here we are, we're doing it together as a community every week worldwide. Through YouTube Live, in our Mistress School, and here in the Prayer Collective. I didn't even plan it that way, but I'm really excited that, you know, the more I study astrology, the more I realize I've been intuitively living in harmony, best way to say it, living in harmony with these astrological transits year in and year out. And that feels really good. It feels really good to me to know that intuitive rudder is on point. And because I always want to be of the highest service to our community, I always want to be in harmony with, you know, what the growth edges are for our international community. And so here we are in harmony, locked and loaded, activated, ready to go. And so this Magdalene Rising ceremony, I was meditating, it was 3 days ago, and in this beautiful natural location, stunning actually. I had a rare moment to just really go super deep with the earth. And Ascended Master Jesus and Mary Magdalene came forward, and they were bringing me some insight and messages about, you know, this particular spring and the times we're living in and what's ahead for our community, both in Austin and for the rest of the year. And they were sharing with me, you know, the perfection of this Magdalene Rising ceremony that's happening on April 13th at 12 p.m. Pacific. And they were sharing how when we draw closer to that Easter portal, when we are, you know, traditional religions celebrate the resurrection of Jesus and the journey of the Holy Family through that extremely excruciating time in their ascension journey. Jesus said, this is when we tend to draw very close to this Magdalene lineage. And he's saying that he was sharing with me that there is so much comfort, and Mary Magdalene came in really strong as well when he started sharing this, but there is so much comfort in recognizing and accepting who you really are. It's so much more challenging when we reject who we are, when we internalize the punishing censorship of this world, and we turn that punishing voice and those punishing behaviors into ourselves, when we internalize it and we doubt who we are as living angels on earth. We doubt the power, the radiance and brilliance of our divinity. We doubt our, you know, our divine inheritance, and we separate ourselves from abundance consciousness, and we, you know, take the collective journey of humanity personally, as though we are personally responsible for the total chaos that is at hand right now on the planet. And Jesus and Mary Magdalene said to me, look, this is such an important time for the Sophia Code community to rise up and fully embrace with their wings up the living truth of who they really are. Because as Jesus taught in the Bible, a house divided against itself will fall. We cannot be houses divided against ourselves. This spring, it is really up to us, and it's this perfect opportunity because this Jupiter and Neptune conjunction is really spicing things up for us on the inner planes to be like, hey, what insecurities, anxieties, and doubts have I allowed myself to be punished by? Because maybe we're over empathizing with the painful collective journey we're witnessing humanity choosing, or perhaps we're still walking with unresolved trauma that keeps us in a perpetual cycle of beating ourselves up. Again, that's why we have that soul power journey on sale this weekend. It's just like, those are some serious life-changing tools for learning how to come into harmony with your own heart, the language of your heart, and learning how to choose to live from a really sovereign place as a creator and not a victim of life. In this meditation, I just felt the powerful and reassuring divine masculine presence of Jesus in perfect harmony with the very powerful divine feminine Christ consciousness of Mary Magdalene, and how they were balancing my own embodiment between the two of them. And this, it is from this space of reconciliation and empowerment that I'd love to open up this week of teachings with Mary Magdalene all week long on YouTube Live for the KR Daily transmissions, and for tonight's very powerful prayer collective, guided meditation, invocation, prayer, and teachings. So all things Magdalene this week as we close up our communications and creativity journey in this month of March, which is leading us right into our topic for April, which will be spiritual leadership. I just felt so grateful for how guided we were as a team, because next month will be the height of that conjunction between Neptune and Jupiter. And one of the reasons why I find so much comfort in studying astrology and studying how this ancient science of looking at what are the planets teaching us, revealing to us about our own hearts. It's like, you know, if you've been procrastinating on a creative project or stepping into your divine purpose for so long that it may have created a very crippling self-sabotaging pattern, who do you think is going to win, you or Jupiter? Like, when I think about that, it really humbles me to realize that creator, creatrix, God, whatever you call that consciousness that created all that is, created these planets as teachers, as spheres of influence that are very much like guardian angels along our journey. And no matter, you know, the longer I study these patterns of transits and conjunctions and my own chart and the different ways that you can track evolutionary process through astrology, what's so interesting to me is that there's so much of our free will is simply the opportunity to choose to go willingly or to fight what is already in motion. The more I understand about the destiny that we have written for our own selves, like, you chose your destiny before you ever came here. You set up the parameters. It's in your birth chart. Literally, that's the blueprint. And that set forward a series of events that you are walking through that you already chose for yourself. And so what I've been over the years have been discovering is like, wow, is it more about choosing this or choosing that? Or is it really just a matter of like the choices have already been made? And am I going to go kicking or screaming, or am I going to go in an educated, willing way? And when we mentor with Mary Magdalene, there's a couple things that happen. The good news is that Mary Magdalene culturally is such like a sexy spiritual figure that people are drawn to magnetically, that they often don't realize they're being drawn like a moth to the sacred flame of Magdalene's holy consciousness. And Magdalene as a figure, like, we don't say there's a diamond light inside of her because it's something pretty to say. We say that Mary Magdalene embodies a diamond light consciousness of God because her consciousness can literally cut through your ego structure like the edge of a diamond. And, she trained with, in temples dedicated to Sekhmet and Kali Ma. Like, there's this profound, she trained in the secret traditions of Tibet with the Dakini energy. It's like, these are transmissions that are approachable because it's Mary Magdalene, but underneath that Key Code 5 transmission is an angelic diamond light that can cut through demons, the demons of our own attachments, the demons of our own illusions. And so when we are drawn to Mary Magdalene, it's this moment of identifying that we're ready to grow up. And she's just like so sexy and cool and smart. And she's like the girl everybody wanted to be friends with in high school, right? But she's also so genuine and authentic and powerful. And so there's this kind of this inner teenager draw to Mary Magdalene, but once you come before Mary Magdalene, just like as you come before Mother Mary, she's going to invoke you to grow up out of places that you may have been hiding out in spiritual infancy. And look, we all have places and spaces within us where we'd rather hang back and stay in the fear than choose to come into the diamond light of Magdalene and really get sober and honest about where we've been hanging out in our spiritual journey, where we've been holding back, where we've been holding ourselves back. Like we've all been there. We are always navigating the vulnerability of our next step. And if you don't feel like that is you in any way, like I honestly feel as though sometimes the unconscious resistance to our growth is so unconscious we can't even see it. And that is also when Mary Magdalene starts to come in as a mentor. And she looks us straight in the eyes and she's just like, I can see where you're unconsciously holding back, even if you can't see it. Allow me to share my diamond light with you so that you can activate these very powerful places within yourself that you may feel terrified of. There's these two topics of creativity and communication are two topics that bring us to some extremely vulnerable edges within ourselves as to what we're willing to explore, what we're willing to say. And so in the presence of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, first and foremost, we're going to become aware of the places that may feel like childlike fears within us. And so often we'll also feel a presence of Mother Mary supporting Mary Magdalene and Jesus's joint transmission. So that becomes like a trinity of Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and Jesus. And it is from this trinity that I would love to open up this prayer call with our invocation and really set the stage for what wants to unfold this evening from our reading of the Sophia Code that starts on page 190. And we're gonna read a few different passages that come together as this evening's teachings. But we're also going to receive a very powerful guided meditation with Mary Magdalene and Jesus in honor of this week, announcing the Magdalene Rising ceremony that's going to be happening on April 13th. But also all of the Magdalene transmissions we're going to be receiving all week long on YouTube Live at Kaia Official. So let's begin by invoking all of our key codes for our circle of empowerment And then we will open up into this sacred channeled space where we can go much deeper together as a community. And for those of you who are new to the Heaven on Earth Prayer Collective, I want to remind you, or excuse me, not remind you, but I want to share with you that all names of God are welcome here. We do not pray or worship the Ascended Masters. We pray directly to the source, and we invoke the Ascended Masters as spiritual guides, guardians, teachers, healers, for their angelic presence to guide and protect and enlighten our spiritual journey and support us in our sovereign divinity to recognize our own clear connection to the source. So they're there as supportive, profoundly supportive figures that simultaneously activate our spiritual awakening because of their own pristine resonance of sovereignty. And in our daily invocation of them through the circle of empowerment, you over time become aware of a very powerful and sophisticated set of spiritual technologies within your human body that can be activated and operated from the context of your higher self-consciousness to live your relationship with life from a sovereign creatorhood perspective instead of feeling as though you are a victim to life. So without further ado, I welcome both our old friends and new friends to the Heaven on Earth Prayer Collective, and let us open with our invocation. Divine Mother of all life, take us to that place deep within your womb where we can know nothing and be reborn anew. Divine Mother of all life, Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. Take me to that place deep within your womb where I can know nothing and be reborn anew. Divine Mother of all life, take us to that place deep within your womb where we can know nothing and be reborn anew. Reborn by your primordial wisdom, reborn by your omniscient perspective, reborn by the presence of your unconditional love, pulsing through each and every one of us, reborn by the awareness, the recognition that we've been made in your image and likeness, Divine Mother of all life. In this calling back, we turn our hearts back to you, to your sacred heart that gives birth to all of the planets and all of the star nurseries and all of creation, including this planet that we are having this experience upon. Divine Mother of all life, powerful Mother of all life, indestructible, invincible Mother of all life. We call forth your consciousness of immaculate creation to fall fresh upon us, to baptize us with your Holy Spirit, and to feel the principles of the Divine Father that you are as well, this one source consciousness that we speak into, we invoke over each and every one of us, our direct, clear connection to the source. Holy Mother, Holy Father, Sophia Source of all life, we welcome your divine interventions of grace, clearing all obstacles, obstructions, confusion. From those who are listening to this prayer collective call, both live and on the replay, we welcome your ministrations of grace to clear out any and all obstructions, psychic attacks, anything that would keep these beautiful light workers, any individual listening to this transmission, your Holy Spirit would make clear that pathway of divine communion between each of our hearts and you. And from this space of clear communion with you, Holy Mother, I feel my heart just buzzing with bees as I return and a conscious awareness to our ever-present communion in divine love, I welcome your beautiful masters of light, your beautiful ascended masters of divine feminine Christ awakening for this planet. We welcome the first 8 revealed key codes of the Sophia Code introductory volume. We welcome in the north pillar of our consciousness, white buffalo woman, key code 7 of the Sophia Code, she of 1,000 white clouds and thunder beams. In the north, I welcome the pristine presence of winged Isis, welcoming Ascended Master Isis for key code 1 of the Sophia Code cosmology, she of 1,000 names. In the east, I welcome beloved radiant Hathor and the Hathor Star Nation as guardians and guides of our creative genius. I welcome beautiful Hathor to stand with us in the east. In the southeast, we welcome the radiant one, mother of all Buddhas, green Tara, and the entire order of Dakinis, including the 21 emanations of Tara. Tare, Chichare, Tori, Soha. In the south, I welcome beloved Mother Mary with her arms wide open to our collective awakening and our journey of fully activating the sovereign divine light within each and every one of us. I also bear witness to the order of the blue flame that's coming in behind Mother Mary, these angelic, this angelic order that carries that sacred blue flame of transmutation and protection and divine order on behalf of Mother Mary. Mother Mary is key code 4 in the Sophia Code, she of 1,000 roses. And you may feel the essence of rose permeate your being as we now invoke in the southwest her spiritual daughter, Mary Magdalene, along with her son, Jesus, and the entire order of Magdalena, including St. Joan of Arc. For those of you who are new to the order of Magdalena, the order of Magdalena encompasses souls, masterful souls that have incarnated upon this planet and other star systems that come to embody Sophia Christ consciousness as activators and awakening, as activators of Christ consciousness for others, very often in the darkest times of a planet's evolutionary cycle. So if you have always felt drawn to Mary Magdalene, chances are good that you have been connected to the order of Magdalena for many lifetimes. And for example, St. Joan of Arc was a Magdalene who was very in tune with the mystic Christian path, although history teaches us her story from a Catholic perspective. If you truly look at the details of Joan's life, Joan was a mystic. Joan was receiving direct communication from her Christian path of communion with the source, and with her own relationship with Jesus and Mother Mary. She was a Magdalene. So this points to that many people can be Magdalenes, not just Mary Magdalene. Magdalene is a title in this order of one who has shown up and served as a great light in some of the darkest times throughout this planet's history and on other planets. In the West, I welcome the one and only, that gentle white light that pierces all darkness, beloved Ascended Master Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin, with her teachings of self-love and compassion that really come in strong, a strong need for those teachings when we step into our spiritual leadership with Mary Magdalene. There's a very specific sequence of these key code initiations that happens in the Sophia Code in order. Each initiation in section 2 of the Sophia Code builds upon the last one, activating different divine attributes and personal healing, as well as releases of vows, oaths, and inherited ancestral programming. It all works together, initiation after initiation, to culminate by the time that you reach the Sophia Dragons. There's this full body awakening in every level of your consciousness, from the inner child to the future self of you as an ascended master, and everybody and everything in between on the inner planes. Now, as we've read, as we know, Kuan Yin's divine masculine counterpart is Mahavatar Babaji, and we welcome him with gratitude and humility in our hearts for his guiding light protection over our journey of awakening. In the Northwest, I welcome the holiest of seraphims. We call them the Sophia Dragons, these incredible angelic cosmic birthers of creation that only birth according to the heart of the Divine Mother's will for her creation to continue forward. And the Sophia Dragons are known as she who births sovereign creators. They are immaculate creator. They are an immaculate creator species. There are multiple creator species that give birth to other species, and this is the first species that's revealed in the Sophia Code that works in this way as an angelic order of the Divine Mother. Finally, in the very center of your circle of empowerment, you might notice that when we invoke these angelic orders, when we invoke these ascended masters, the very air, the very molecules in the air around you starts to feel different. It starts to feel filled with the presence of empowerment, divine love. And honestly, it's the resonance of sovereignty and everything that comes with that resonance of sovereignty. It up levels every cell in your body to call in this circle of empowerment and to feel your friends in high places, lifting up your awareness to a much higher bar than what our human ego structure or this planetary matrix would have us rise up into. You know, the matrix that we are, surviving here on this earth plane, it would have you distracted, confused, distorted, inverted, and submissive. When we invoke the sovereign presence of the Sophia Dragon tribes, when we allow these ascended masters to bless our consciousness and to mentor and guide us, we are stepping into a sovereign resonance that is absolutely the opposite of what this matrix would have us embody. So this is why when we open Mary Magdalene's chapter, the very first section of her chapter in the Sophia Code is entitled, Mary Magdalene is a mentor for your spiritual revolution. We could have said the word journey. We could have said the word healing. We could have even said the words leadership. Nope. Mary Magdalene wanted the words revolution, their spiritual revolution. Mary Magdalene is a mentor for your spiritual revolution. This is because when you stand in your circle of empowerment, when you walk with the ascended masters, when you choose to activate the divine genome within you and embody your higher self, and you choose to begin to download more and more of the divine light of your soul into this world, you are a walking spiritual revolution. We don't say words in the Sophia Code to sound cool, or to get your attention. It's because they are simply the truth. So when you look at like what is encapsulated in the Mary Magdalene chapter, we're talking about a woman way beyond her times. We're talking about a woman that was radically empowered, that walks side by side with a very famous masculine teacher in her own right, her own talents, gifts, and abilities. We're talking about a woman whose legacy has managed to outlast 2,000 years. When we think about there's so many people you don't even know even existed 100 years ago. There's very few people whose fame lasts beyond even 10 years, let alone 100 years, let alone thousands of years. This really speaks to who this woman is as a mentor, as a master of light, and that it's important for us to really take her for her word and to allow her words to activate our own recognition of who we really are. That's what I really feel from Jesus and Mary Magdalene today, this profound, it's almost like an aching for us to stop holding out on ourselves, to really embrace our own empowerment, our own our own essence of who we are and just stop minimizing or hiding from it. I wouldn't even say it's like an urgency, although of course, the times we are living in, my God, what an urgent call to spiritual leadership, to fulfilling our divine purpose, to co-creating with one another. It goes beyond what I'm feeling from as a transmission from Jesus and Mary Magdalene. It is this longing, as though a lover is longing for their lover. It is this longing when something or someone loves you so much, it is longing for you to love yourself this much. That is the longing I feel for them. Now, are they attached to an outcome? It's not, that's not where we're going for this. There's no agenda here for you to fulfill, to like make Jesus or Mary Magdalene happy with you because they love you unconditionally. But it's this longing that anyone who deeply and genuinely loves someone else wants the best for them. It's that same longing for you. And I want to share a little bit from this passage that Mary Magdalene guided me to share about for tonight, because I think this is so interesting, this shared longing that I feel from both of them and as a unified field, as this harmonious divine masculine and divine feminine. They're perfectly balanced in their divine masculine and divine feminine, both of them, both Mary Magdalene and Jesus. I mean, how is Jesus such a freaking powerful channel and healer? He was so tapped into his divine feminine, right? How was Mary Magdalene able to carry the sword of her consciousness in such a powerful way? She had activated the divine masculine principles within her to support and uplift the feminine, the receptivity and the mystic that she was. Like, these are two highly balanced masters of light that then perfectly amplify and accelerate each other's transmission together. And Mary Magdalene asked for us to read this passage on page 195. And she wants to share this passage with us so that we can take some really powerful teachings with us for the rest of March and bring these teachings into this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that's truly and profoundly invoking each of us personally and collectively into our spiritual leadership. So at the top of page 196 in chapter 10 of the Sophia Code, this is towards the end of a section that's entitled Mary Magdalene Prepares for Her Mission. And this is sharing about what happened for Mary Magdalene before she personally met Jesus, and her lifeline. God only knows what her astrology birth chart must have looked like in conjunction with Jesus's, but this is the preparation that's going into her ministry with Jesus, getting herself ready for this very powerful co-creative ministry that she was about to step into. And there's a few key points that I feel might help us navigate the full spectrum of emotions that this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction is bringing us through. Because when we step closer to these archetypes of spiritual leadership, a lot of insecurities and outdated fears and anxieties can also arise. So this is what was happening for Mary Magdalene. There was an impatience, there was a curiosity, there was a longing, there was feeling held back or stagnation when she wanted to springboard forward in her leadership. But there's something important that happens when you're serving a much higher mission than just your own ego structure. And that's called divine timing. Divine timing. I don't know why I'm being guided to share this, but I think there's a lot of people on this call that might need to hear those words. Divine timing. Okay. Sophia is having a bit of a moment here. Hi, sweetheart. Is this a lot of energy for you? Okay. So, what was Mary feeling? On page 195 and paragraph 2, she's sharing about how Mother Mary helped her to open her heart far beyond what I thought was possible. Isn't that so interesting? Because last week on the KR Daily Transmission, we were talking a lot about Mother Mary's teachings for keeping our hearts open during these incredibly challenging times. And Mary Magdalene shares that this practice of keeping her heart open, it was inviting her to open her heart far beyond what she thought was possible. Can you relate with that? That there is a divine timing unfolding in your spiritual leadership that's asking you to keep your heart open beyond what you thought possible? If we're going to keep our heart open in these extraordinary times, we cannot take the journey, humanity's journey of evolution personally. All of the self-hatred, all of the self-punishment, all of the self-sabotage, all the ways that humanity continues to confuse itself. Are you going to embody that confusion, thinking that's what's going to help humanity evolve? Or are you going to embrace the compassionate witness, that same diamond light within you that can see through the crazy chaos, the inversion of these Luciferian agendas looking to divide and separate us from ourselves and from one another? Mary Magdalene is sharing here, keeping her heart open far beyond what she thought possible, tempered the urgent kind of wrathful, she's saying this wrathful proclivity, this anger, this righteous anger that she absolutely had every right to feel about the darkness of the times that she was living in. It helped her temper that energy and use it for good. Use it towards cultivating herself, getting ready for her spiritual leadership and her divine purpose, not allowing the times to shut her heart down. And so in this reading, Mary Magdalene goes on to share that in the following paragraph, that practicing the compassionate witness helped her harness the power of her anger into an all-consuming compassion that could render her enemies harmless. Isn't this interesting that by keeping your heart open, not by shutting it down, using discernment, practicing the mastery of loving your own heart first and keeping it open, there's a compassion that pours through us. It's a divine virtue that renders your enemies harmless. That's extraordinary. That is so much divine love for yourself that your ministry, your leadership becomes fulfilled by your very embodiment of that compassion. It changes reality. It changes the matrix programming intuitively, instantaneously, by the presence of your higher self shining through you and you allowing and willing that diamond light to cut through the darkness into this world. Now, on the next page, this is where we want to talk about this divine feminine, divine masculine harmony within ourselves, as represented by Mary Magdalene's life work. But I really wanted to offer those teachings from the previous page because there's a lot to be angry about at this time. There's an enormous amount of geopolitical manipulation and maneuvering that's impacting our society and our way of life on so many levels, not to mention the amount of confusion and desperation that multiple warring factions are creating around the world. Not that this hasn't been happening all along, but it's very much in the public awareness. And this is right on the heels of how much was orchestrated over the past 2 years to wear down our humanity, honestly, to wear down the heart of humanity. And this is why, after the past 2 years and now facing these particular geopolitical choices that are happening, ironically, where elections are happening all over the world as well this year, be curious. Be curious and call forth the spirit of discernment to really pierce through the veil of what is happening. That way you can turn your real focus back to the sacred flame of your own heart, your own reason to come to this planet at this time, to serve here and now in these times of extreme challenges, extreme needs, extreme changes. It's not by turning away from yourself. It is by turning back to your own angelic light, your own purpose for serving, the very gifts and superpowers and talents that your soul has brought into this world, and embodying those gifts, embodying that service, walking with the ascended masters, choosing a highly accelerated path of growth and healing. That is the solution. That is walking the way. And that's exactly what Mary Magdalene chose to do in her own times when she felt her own urgency and anger and intensity. What did she do? She focused upon cultivating her own divine purpose and spiritual leadership. And what happens on page 195, she says, in paragraph 1, 2, 3, in paragraph 4, I became completely immersed in my relationships with myself, my mentor, Mary, as well as our overlighting team of ascended master guides and angels. My longing for a distant future fell away without much notice of its whereabouts, and I found myself feeling the subtle purr of happiness that naturally arose from the satisfaction of my lioness heart, connected to her pride, hunting our divine potential together in every present moment. I mean, if that isn't the Magdalene Rising ceremony right there, that paragraph in and of itself, it's when we become so present to the present moment, so focused upon what it is for us to do here and now by keeping our hearts open and choosing to expand, not to contract, but to expand in every way. In our relationship with life and our work and our personal lives and with our families and our communities and our ministries and our creativity, choosing to learn and grow and not contract. This is light on the loose. This is the spiritual revolution that you came here to be. Because it's so much easier to go to sleep. It's so much easier to hide. It appears to be so much easier. The ego structure will tell you it's so much easier. Yet in a contracted, it takes a lot of energy to stay in that contracted state of fear. So when we mentor with Mary Magdalene, we start to disengage from what seems to be impossible about the duality of this world. And we start to really tune into what is possible, the unlimited possibilities of our sovereign divine potential that can be actualized within our daily life. And so this is what happened for Mary Magdalene in her own preparation for, honestly, a worldwide ministry. And on page 196, Mary Magdalene shared one of her frustrations was the sexism that she constantly encountered as a highly evolved, reincarnated master teacher, even with some of the most advanced, masterful men at her mystery school. And she says, my diamond faceted mind and acute psychic perception intimidated even high-level male teachers in our Essene order. This is at the top of 196. And I remember feeling the laughter and relief and reflection of Mary Magdalene as I channeled those words and really gave voice to what her experience, her personal experience was like with that kind of, societal undercurrent, unconscious persecution. And what is this a symbol of? Look, it's a symbol of the wounded masculine that wants to control or minimize the power of the divine feminine. And likewise, the wounded feminine wants to minimize and control the divine masculine. This goes both ways. The wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, they both attack the divine feminine and divine masculine principles of God consciousness. So this is an example here of a wounded masculine, an unresolved wounded masculine energy persecuting a divine feminine Christ consciously embodied woman. And, because she was so embodied in this divine feminine Christ consciousness, she didn't take it personally. When you are embodying divine feminine Christ consciousness, not feminism, that's not the same thing. We're talking about the intuitive principles of God consciousness that are receiving downloads, that is, receiving divine guidance, one with prosperity consciousness. When the wounded masculine comes towards the divine feminine is not impacted. She laughs. She's like, oh my God, that's so cute. I guess you feel angry or jealous or insecure, or like you have to control the primordial goddess within me. Okay, you can't, but you're allowed to have all of your feelings. And same too with the divine masculine. It's like when the wounded feminine goes after the divine masculine, it literally bounces off the divine masculine, because that masculine energy can easily discern what is his and what is not his to take in. There's a strong boundary there. So when we step into the wholeness of divine consciousness, the shenanigans of the ego structure cannot impact us the same way. Further, to take it even further, when you embody the power of your higher self's divine consciousness, all the attributes, divine feminine, divine masculine, all of these attributes that work together as one, you get to decide what's right for you. There's a discernment that's both receptive and active in how your consciousness can work and identify where your leadership talents and gifts are best focused and implemented and contributing in your spiritual journey. So this is one of my favorite paragraphs in the Magdalene chapter. It's on page 196. And this is Mary Magdalene sharing, deciding who Jesus was for myself was an important step in opening my heart to follow his lead and to take up my opportunity to teach by his side. I was a wealthy, independent woman with an extraordinary education, and I did not have to answer this call to embody the divine feminine Christ as a supporting teacher in his movement. I needed to intuitively experience his own embodiment of both the divine masculine and the divine feminine Christ energies to trust that serving in alignment with his ministry was the best use of my gifts and life force. This is an extraordinary statement. What this is saying is Mary Magdalene in her sovereignty chose to lead side by side with Jesus. She chose to invest her gifts and talents, her extraordinary intuition, and even the divine inheritance of her family's wealth was invested into her co-creative ministry with Jesus. And the next section in her chapter of the Sophia Code is this extraordinary dream that she has with Jesus. Continues to, this riveting, unfolding story of how they come together to harmoniously lead side by side. But for this evening's prayer collective call, in honor of this Jupiter Neptune conjunction that we're in the midst of, from tonight's readings, I hope you are feeling inspired by Mary Magdalene's presence, that she is reassuring you that everything that you're investing in yourself right now, the time, the energy, the resources, to get everything in alignment, either for your spiritual leadership or your divine purpose to be initiated in a new way, or for it to expand at a whole nother level. Mary Magdalene's message to you this evening is like, take heart and have courage. You are literally an angel on earth. And angels are always provided for by God for their holy missions. Why would it be any less for you? And she's also inviting you to remember that, like, this is a community of other living angels. And that is a big part of the healing of the Order of Magdalena. And it's what, another symbolic representation of a teaching. Mary Magdalene's ministry with Jesus, it was a co-creative ministry. Their ministry with the entire Essene community and Mother Mary and Grandmother Anna, like, again, a co-creative harmony at its best. Community leadership, collective leadership. Everyone's gifts and talents interwoven, intertwined, uplifting and raising the bar for everyone involved. A deeper understanding that the emotional spectrum of the human experience is a part of that divine activation cycle. And so in closing, I'd like to have this, we have only a few more minutes left, but I would love to do a guided visualization for you with Mary Magdalene and Jesus to help us integrate this evening's teachings and reflections, to help us really tune into their transmission and prepare our hearts for this wonderful journey that we're going to go on with the Order of Magdalena this week. And I welcome you to take 3 deep breaths into the center of your heart. To feel the gravity of Jesus, who now stands on your right side, and the presence of Mary Magdalene, who's standing at your left side. You have stepped forward from the circle of empowerment to activate your prayer for spiritual leadership, your prayer for your divine purpose, however you are leading in whatever field or passion of interest, how you came here to serve and show up, whether it's with other human beings, whether it's with a particular field of interest and education or empowerment, whether it's with animals or for the planet or for a particular cause that you believe in. We are all here to show up and serve beyond the day-to-day journey of being human. And that's part of the journey of being human. Brings great meaning to the journey of being human. And both Mary Magdalene and Jesus, Mary Magdalene is bringing her right hand to the back of your heart as Jesus brings his left hand to the back of your heart. And as their hands meet at the back of your heart, you may feel your heart chakra spinning open wider from the back. 5 major chakras that have a front to back wheel of light. The back of those chakras are connected to willpower. And as you feel that stargate of your heart chakra spiral open wider, you may feel a brightening of diamond light in the back of your heart. I'm witnessing for many people on this call, different objects being released from the back of people's heart chakras, spiritual attacks, kind of symbolic of different weapons or persecutions from across the ages that you may have experienced for stepping into service or leadership of any kind in other lifetimes. And Jesus and Mary Magdalene are working together with your higher self consciousness in this moment to clear out and allow whatever is ready to be released out of the back of your heart to just simply drain out in the presence of their healing light. They are such a profound couple of healing. Oh, so powerful. And as we receive this healing presence, this golden light of Jesus, and it's also coming with that sapphire blue healing ray of Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene's diamond white light, these three rays of light coming together in the back of your heart. You may feel a purification at the root of your angel wings. I'm also seeing some like different objects like poison arrows kind of being pulled out of people's wings. And there's a reminder that Mary Magdalene is sharing that it's not that your power is the power of undefended divine love. Like the spiritual battles of the past, the way that we've been taught to fight the spiritual battles of the past, like it does not apply to this lifetime. And Mary Magdalene and Jesus, if you're ready, they're lifting your body, heart, and mind up into seventh plane consciousness, Christ consciousness, where instantaneous miracles and divine knowing exist. Every cell in my body is vibrating right now. And I am praying for wherever you're ready to receive this level of a transmission that you will open to feel the holy presence of Jesus and Mary Magdalene fully activating you right now. And Mother Mary is bringing a key up to the very center of your heart. And this key goes in and it turns at the center of your heart. And she's saying this is a turning of the wheels, a turning of the times. She's saying the planets are speaking not just to humanity's collective awakening, but to you individually, my dears. She's saying, open your hearts to your greatest sovereign potential, because those who choose to lead now will be leading the way for the next decade of humanity's awakening. So wherever you are choosing to say yes today, and in this cosmic kind of portal of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, she's saying, this is setting the stage for the timeline you are choosing for the next 10 years. And it's for each of us, there's a destiny point that we already chose to fulfill before we even arrived. You know, in Mother Mary's chapter is destiny is a promise that you made to yourself. And in the presence of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, who so much embodied their destiny, that we are still talking about their destiny today, these are just such key mentors for opening your heart to that future timeline that's calling you forward, where the radiance of your higher self embodiment will be unmistakably seen by those who are ready to see you in all of your divine glory, in all of the divine love that seeks to pour through you in this lifetime. But first and foremost, this divine love, visualizing it flowing over the chalice of your heart, like a river of life, baptizing your eyes, rising up through your crown chakra, showering out through your crown chakra, and circulating back up through your root chakra. It begins to open up and cleanse the front side of your heart. And for those of you who have activated the spiritual technology of your angel wings, you'll feel your angel wings spreading out really wide, pointing straight up. And now Mary Magdalene has placed her hand on your left shoulder, and Jesus places his hand on your right shoulder. And you may begin to feel this pouring of healing energy downloading through both of your shoulders, rolling down your arms and flooding your heart with a clear awareness of how divine masculine principles and divine feminine principles are being rebalanced within your organs, within your blood, within your physical DNA. And that this healing light is being sent all the way as a bridge between your physical DNA and strengthening those bridges of light to the metaphysical divine genome. anchoring more and more of your crystalline divine consciousness here on the earth plane. This is the solution, becoming more and more cognizant of this very powerful stream of consciousness that your divinity is in this world. That is why you are an angel in human form. You are a light stream of divine consciousness in human form. And Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene and Jesus are asking if there is any diversion of this light stream of your own divinity pouring into your heart, if there is a diversion of that energy where you feel as though you must give it away to everyone else instead of receiving it first, I welcome you to open your heart wider and to let go of that belief that others are more important than you are, and to open up your heart to the belief that you are worthy of your own divine love. That the more divine love, the more of your own soul's light that you receive within your heart to nourish you, body, heart, and mind, day in and day out, the more of an impact you're making in this world. And we anchor that golden ray of wisdom within the very center point of your heart chakra. And visualize that center point of your heart chakra begin to shine with different rays of that of Mary Magdalene's diamond light, and connecting into that technology behind your shoulder blades that's holding up your angel wings. Feel that radiant flood of divine light lifting up through your angel wings, cleansing and baptizing your pituitary gland and your pineal gland. And let's just breathe into this transmission from Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary and Jesus together. 3 deep breaths, breathing in. Exhaling out. Visualizing that light traveling all the way into your feet. Allowing unworthiness to roll off of your back. It no longer serves you. Breathing out. Feeling the profound worthiness that Magdalene and Jesus are mirroring to you, embodying with you. And visualize that gravity of worthiness. The weight of your worthiness is so heavy that it just drops all the way down through the very center of your being to the very bottom of your feet, and anchors all the way into the center of the earth. Exhaling out. Holy Mother, Sophia, Divine Mother, Divine Father, Source, thank you so much for the blessings of these transmissions from your Masters of Light. Thank you so much that Mother Mary has consecrated her soul as a mother to this world. We pray for blessings and ministrations of grace on this lineage, this Magdalene lineage that continues to magnify the Christ light in this world beyond our understanding. Their service is so generous, and we are a part of that generosity. We are a part of the Order of Magdalena, Divine Mother of all life. Bless our wings, bless our hearts, bless our minds. Thank you for this time of reflecting and calling back into your primordial power that exists within each and every one of us. Thank you that you would never have sent us to this planet without all the tools, all of the grace, all of the strength, and all of the light that we need to accomplish our shared angelic mission. And with gratitude and faith in our hearts, we now give thanks to Jesus, to the Marys, and most importantly, to our higher self-consciousness and our direct connection to God for the sealing of this transmission as directed by each and everyone's own higher self on all levels of our being. We now say together as a community, it is done, it is done, it is done. By the power of 3, a perfect Trinity, it is done. And so it is. Thank you everyone for joining us for this Powerful Prayer Collective call. It's been so beautiful to initiate this week's teachings with Mary Magdalene, and we have so much more to come. Please be sure to join us live for the KR Daily Transmission Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And you can go ahead and sign up for that Magdalene Rising ceremony with this energy of Mary Magdalene and Jesus with us so strong in our hearts right now. I know that ceremony is going to be off the charts. As soon as they came to me in meditation a couple days ago, I was like, oh, wow, this is really special. This is going to feel so good. And I'm just so grateful that we created it unknowingly to match this astrological influence. It's just so cool, the divine synchronicities that happen. I love our community so much. And if you have any questions about anything we've shared tonight, please feel free to reach out to my team angels. You can schedule a free team angel consultation to learn more about our curriculums, even our Soul Power Journey curriculum, which is on sale this weekend. Our upcoming events in Austin, and of course, our Magdalene Rising ceremony on April 13th. It's such a joy to be here with you live. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Namaste.